Hello everyone and welcome to BA320. This is week one and I want to go over a little bit about what is due in class and just kind of how things are going to proceed throughout the next 5 weeks. As we're going through this, if you have any questions, please jot them down and feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer them. So I think you're going to find this class really interesting. This class is going to cover a lot of stuff about investments. So the name of the book that we're going to be using is Financial Markets and Institutions, and that is basically what we will be studying. We'll be looking at all sorts of different markets, from the stock markets to bonds to mutual funds to all sorts of different things like that. And then different institutions as far as how the banks work and how the government interacts, how brokerages work. So there's a lot of different things that you're going to read about, and I think that you'll find really interesting. So let's go over the class a little bit just in case somebody is new to online courses. If you've taken online courses before, this will probably just be a good review for you. So as you can see, I am logged into the class right here, and you're going to have your home, your announcements, syllabus, discussions, grades, different things like that. You won't have all of these things because I'm set up as the instructor, but one of the things that you're going to want to look at here is the home page. So on the home page, you're going to see everything that's due. So your first thing here is Eaglegate Cafe, which is going to show up under the discussions, and we'll get to that here in just a second. And you'll have your Module 1, which is week 1, Module 2, which is week 2, and so on, and I'll cover each of those every week. So let's focus on Module 1 a little bit. So on Module 1, you're going to have your checklist and objectives. So that is what is due this week, what you need to go over. Then you're going to have your lectures and your readings. So these are the things that you're going to need to read and study for the week. You'll have your first discussion, your lecture response, and then your assignment. And then you'll have APA formatting tips here, and then a job search resource that the school is providing for you. So let's start with the discussion question. So I'm just going to right click on this and open in a new tab so we can see it. You can also go up here and click on the discussions link, and I want to show you that. So let's go to the discussions link as well. So on your discussion link here, you are going to have a few different things here. So you're going to see an Eaglegate Cafe. Eaglegate Cafe, this is how we're going to get to know everybody a little bit better. So in an online setting, it can be kind of impersonal sometimes, so we're trying to take that out. We want everybody to get to know something about each other in here. So as you log into class for the first time, go into Eaglegate Cafe and post something about yourself. Say your name, what you do for a job, if you have kids, what your expectations are for the class, just some things like that. It doesn't have to be as long as mine. I just wanted you guys to know a little bit about me and kind of my background and my credentials as well. So once you get that done, there's also a place on here where you can post questions to me. This is a great kind of open forum discussion. If you post a question on here and there's another student that sees it and says, hey, I think I can answer that, chime in. It'll help build a classroom setting, I think. But I will also respond to that. If it's a personal question, something that you want to reach out to me that you don't want everybody else to know about, please don't post it here. Send me an email or give me a call. And then right below this, you'll have our week 1 discussion. So as I said, I've opened that up here. So the week 1 discussion here says, how do interest rate changes? Explain briefly and identify what you think the most influential factor, or think is the most influential factor, So interest rates. Everybody's heard of them, but I don't know if everybody truly understands them. I know I didn't before I started going to school. I'd heard of interest rates. It's like, well, an interest rate is what I make on my savings in the bank, or it's what you pay on your credit card, or it's what you pay on a mortgage. These are kind of all tied together, and a lot of that is based off of certain factors. You'll see in my response here that I've talked a little bit about the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve really helps drive the interest rates, but there's a lot of things that they consider when they are deciding if they're going to increase or decrease the interest rate. So as you go through the book, you'll see a lot of different things on there that talk about interest rates. I believe it's chapter 2 talks a lot about interest rates. So as you go through, read that, think about that, and then think about some of the things that impact interest rates, and then pick one and talk about it. Don't just pick one and say, this is what I found and this is what impacts it. It says defend your opinion, and that's what we expect. So go out there and say, I think interest rates are affected by this because I have seen this and this is why, or something like that. Give your opinion. As we say, this is your opinion. There's not really a right or wrong answer. If somebody disagrees with your opinion, that's fine. You can respond, but be respectful and say, you know, I can see where you're coming from, but here's the way that I interpret that. And let's have a good open forum and a discussion. And I think you'll really enjoy the discussion boards. I know that I enjoy reading all of the posts. The main thing there is just to stay on topic, but then also you will see here your initial post needs to be done by Wednesday night at midnight, and then you need to respond to 2 of your classmates by Sunday night at midnight. So you'll have a total of 3 posts every week. Initial by Wednesday night, last 2 by Sunday night. That doesn't mean you have to do it on Wednesday and Sunday. You could post on Monday and Thursday if you wanted. Just make sure that you get those 3 posts done. So that is the discussion question for the week. Let's go back here to the home page. And you will see, let's scroll back down a little bit. You're going to have a lecture response. So right now you are watching the lecture. With your lecture response, let's open this here in a different tab and go over this a little bit. So for this assignment, please watch the lecture below, which there will be a video right here, which you're obviously watching right now, and then type a 150-word summary of what you learned from the lecture. The key thing with this, and where I see a lot of students mess up, is they just give a 150-word response on whatever they think they read out of the book, or maybe what they think about interest rates. Yes, you can tie that into this because we're talking about that in the lecture, but talk about the lecture. What did you learn from here? What did you learn about how the class is set up and how to proceed? What did you learn about interest rates? So make sure that you get that in there, the 150 words. I'm not going to sit there and count every word and say, hey, you only had 147 out of 150. Get it right there around 150 and you're going to be fine. If you only put in 75 words, I will dock points for that because you're not developing your thoughts enough on that. So be sure to develop that and list what you learned from the lecture. So your lecture responses are due by Wednesday. If they are turned in after Wednesday, they are docked 20%. So then they need to be done by Sunday night of that week. So that's your lecture response. And now I want to spend a little bit of time on the assignment because this is where the bulk of your points are going to be. You can see you'll have your discussions worth 25, your lecture response is worth 20, and then your assignment is worth 100 points. So double of the other ones combined. So be sure to get all 3 done, but your assignment is going to be very important. And one thing that I do want to give you a heads up on, for week 4 in module 4, you're going to see that you're going to have a final project. Let's scroll down and see exactly what it was called. So yeah, final project. That's pre-developed. You're going to have to actually go out there and make an investment plan. So look ahead at that so you can kind of be building up to that so you're not just scrambling that week to do it all because it will take a little bit more time. Okay, so let's go back to the Module 1 assignment. So your Module 1 assignment here. So for this assignment, you need to interview someone you know who currently has investments. So let's talk a little bit about what investments are. Investments aren't a savings account. A savings account is you're just putting money in there and you're getting your 0.5% or whatever the current rate is on that. That's not an investment really. So you need to talk to somebody that has had either, as it says here, a 401k account through their work. It's fine. Maybe they do stocks, maybe they do bonds, maybe they do mutual funds, anything like that. I would think most people would know somebody that has done that. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sit down with them and talk to them about how they manage their investment. So there's a bunch of different ways that they can manage their investment. For example, with my company that I work for, I essentially invest in mutual funds, but I get to determine the mutual funds that I want to invest in and my allocation to say I want so much to go to this fund, so much to go to this fund, so much to go to this fund. Or I can go in there and say, hey, this fund isn't doing good. I want to take all the money out of it and put it into this fund because I think the long-term projections are better. So talk to somebody that's done that and see exactly what their thought process was, what research they did. Did they talk to friends about it? I've got a guy that I work with that is really good at that, and sometimes I will ask him, but I also do my own reading. I get quarterly statements on what the year-to-date amount is, what the previous year return is, the previous 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, and 15-year, I believe. So it breaks it out so I can go and look and say, hey, this one's done better over this period of time. Maybe I should put more money in there. So talk to them and see how they chose what their investments were and how they manage them, and then also what they wanted to get out of it in the end. That might seem like a silly question, thinking, well, everybody just wants to get more money. Yes, that is true. Nobody's investing to lose. but there are different ways to invest and different thought processes in that. For example, if I was a 20-year-old investing and a 65-year-old investing, I would have very, very different ending goals. If I was a 20-year-old, I would probably take a lot of risks because if I don't want to lose my money, but if I did, I still had 45 years to make it back, until I'm at retirement age of 65. If I'm 65 and I'm retiring, I'm going to play it very safe because I don't want to lose my money because that's my nest egg and I need that to buy groceries next week, possibly if I'm retiring. So you need to think about all of those different things and the different outcomes that people expect. And as far as the paper goes, let's talk a little bit about what is expected from that. A lot of students struggle with this. I don't know if they just don't scroll down and see that, but as you can see as I scroll right here, the paper needs to be 2 to 3 pages and include at least 2 references. It can be double spaced and in APA format. It has to have a title page. The title page does not count as one of the 2 or 3 pages. You need to have 2 or 3 pages of your interview, your research, your analysis, things like that. If it's shorter than that, you will get docked points as well. And we're not sitting there trying to dock points saying, well, you're not doing your job. We're counting words, we're counting pages. The reason why we're pushing for you to get that 2 to 3 page minimum is because it's going to help you push yourself to develop your thought process. If you only have a page, you're going to be like, all right, I've got to study more. I've got to figure out something else to talk about. So we're not looking for a bare minimum just to count words or pages. We want to make sure that you're understanding the concepts and pushing yourself to learn. And then once that's done, go ahead and upload it, and I will get those graded as quick as I can. If you submit it early, I'll try to get it graded. If not, it will be graded generally the Monday or Tuesday after the week closes. And these are all due by Sunday of the week that we are in. If they are turned in late, I will still accept them, but again, the late policy will apply and you will be docked 20%. So I think that's it for week 1. Just as a quick recap, you'll have your discussion and lecture response, which are both due by Wednesday. Then you'll have your 2 responses to the discussion question, which are due by Sunday, and the assignment, which are due by Sunday. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And also, please try to post something in EagleGate if you can. It's interesting and it's nice to learn a little bit about everybody and kind of meet them through this format that we're going. So thank you for being in the class. I look forward to working with each of you. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, and let's have a great class.